Today we're doing a bunch of viewer suggested engines in one go. So we're starting off with a viewer suggested engine that was a 2JZ with a supercharger instead of a turbocharger. So I thought, you know what, this sounds absolutely awesome, let's build it. So thank you to you, Mr. Viewer Suggested Engine, or Mrs. Viewer Suggested Engine, I don't know. Thank you to that, and yeah, let's get into the business. So it's gonna be a little longer video, so I hope you have coffee nearby or a bottle of water, like I have. And yeah, let's get down to business, shall we? So I did play around with these types of engines before, off camera that is, just to see how it reacts to power and also what type of fuel I need to run in order to make it the kind of power that I want to make. So with this engine I'm hoping for around 1000 horsepower, because to be honest I do not know what's gonna happen to this actually. All I do know is it's gonna be an interesting science experiment. Today we're a little bit of a science channel, a little bit of one. But yeah. So as you can see here, there's a little bit of restriction on our compression, on our supercharger, so there's a little bit of that going on. But at least this thing will have a very flat power graph. So far it's doing pretty damn well. We're making just over 300 horsepower. That should jump up, yep, to 400 horsepower. And then we're just going to increase our compressor size to a fairly large compressor, that is, because this is a centrifugal supercharger. So it's basically a turbocharger front, so to speak, with a geared mechanism on the rear. That is what you see the lower gear ratio is, and also the supercharger tune as well as the boost. So it should all be somewhat similar. Now note, this engine is not exactly to scale of a JZ. There's some stuff I don't have in this game. We do however have vvti, or variable valve timing, on the intake side. That's what I believe vvti stands for. And also we're not going to run much cam profile to the normal amount of engine we typically do. So we're making 1000, wow, okay, 1300 horsepower already. Okay, so one thing I've learned, that supercharged engines sometimes like timing, and a lot of it, sometimes. And also, yeah, we're gonna tune the supercharger a little more, well, say the future supercharger. Or procharger if you will, it's same. Now if there's a little bit of background noise, I do apologize, my dog's being a little crazy, so yeah. ADHD squirrel moments, as they say. I think my dog does have that, but you know. Anyway, we're ramping up the boost a little more, and also we're gonna, actually no, we're lowering the boost a little bit, and we're tuning our supercharger a little more, so that does help a lot. And now that we have superchargers, if you have a engine that you would love to see on the channel, do let me know down below in the comment sections below. And also, while you're down there, hit that like button, and yeah, leave me a comment so I can see that you're interested in this content. But getting back to this engine, thank you. We are slightly tuning our supercharger again. There's some tuning going on. Okay, that's looking better. Okay. So that's looking better. Okay, so I think I am going to lower the gear ratio a little more, because it looks like it does help. Also, I'm going to make the intake manifold a little smaller, just a tiny bit. We're going to go back to the top end and lower our compression some more. This is technically very low compression for this engine, but I think we can work with that. As well as lifting our RPM rev limiter a little more. We're making 1490 horsepower, which is way more than the amount that I thought we were going to be making. Just purely based on how engines behave with turbochargers and superchargers. And also the other thing is there is parasitic drag, which on a supercharger application in a V8 it's taxing, but it's not as taxing as smaller engines. That's why most smaller engines are turbocharged, because as you'll see later in this video, hint hint, we're gonna be doing a side-by-side comparison of turbocharged versus NA, which one is more fuel efficient. That's something that I saw that was a viewer suggested engine that's coming up after the JZ. So stay tuned for that. So, okay, this is helping. 1548 horsepower before the supercharger decides to explode. It's not terrible. So I'm just quickly figuring out why it is. Okay, so there it goes, back to normal. 1550 horsepower is a lot. I think we can get a little more out of it, but I'm going to leave a lot of room on the table for future endeavors, as we will, on some more, well, spicy fuels, like nitromethane. And also there's another thing that has happened with nitromethane. There's a whole bunch of them now. So yeah, we'll probably go through that once we get to a nitromethane engine. So lowering compression a little more should help. There we go. 1600 horsepower, that's awesome. So let's move over to the dyno, because I think this is gonna sound freaking awesome. So we're gonna do 2 dyno runs, one looking at this beautiful engine and one looking at the graph. So let's see what this beautiful beast sounds like. I hope it's good. Holy cow, this thing sounds very different. So yeah, I think this is a good candidate. So thank you to suggested this video. So now we're moving over to a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter engine. And I think it's gonna make a pretty good fuel efficient engine. Now this was a viewer suggested engine. Can you make a fuel efficient engine running on petrol only or gasoline if you or from the States or any place that uses gasoline instead of petrol, which, you know, that debate to me is stupid. Why would you use either or? I just think it's a cool naming system to use petrol or gasoline. It does not matter to me. But anywhoosies, we are gonna be making quite a bit of a stir with this engine, I think. Because we're doing it NA and turbocharged to see the difference that NA and turbo engines sometimes have. Now we're already at 35% fuel efficient, which is quite good so far. Considering this thing is naturally aspirated 2.5 liters in displacement, which is kinda tiny for a V8. The closest thing that you get, as far as I know, that is somewhat road legal was the V8 out of the Ferraris, I believe. I'm not too sure on that one. I think it is. I think it was either a 3 liter or a 3.5 liter engine. Now, besides the point, we are quite endeavorly doing well with our NA stuff. We're already at 40% fuel efficiency. Considering this thing is unfortunately on premium fuel, which, you know, is super actually, no, it's 95 octane, which could be considered a cheating engine in this case, or cheating fuel, so to speak, because it takes a lot less fuel to burn and make the same amount of power as it does with any lower grade fuels. Because the lower the, as I understand it, the lower the grade of fuel, the lower your combustion output is, or your power stroke is forcing your pistons down. That explosion, that basically the way I was I was taught was you have a if you have a better burn ratio, you have a lot cleaner fuel efficiency in terms of it doesn't take as much energy to burn the same amount of fuel as it does with a lower grade fuel. Like, you need more fuel to burn and make the same amount of power lower octane than it does with a higher octane. That's why if you put something on E85 versus gasoline, it's going to take a little more fuel on E85 to make the same amount of power as gasoline, but E85 is much safer. It's basically a overall better fuel. That's why I like to use it whenever I do a somewhat efficient engine. So yeah, enough of my jibber jabber. We're already at 42%, almost 42%. Well, we're at 42% now. So that's pretty good for an inner engine. So yeah, we're gonna listen to it in a moment's notice. So do absolutely sound awesome, I hope. I think. Anyway, my brain is a little bit of a squirrel today. But we're gonna do 2 data runs, one looking at this beautiful engine, and one looking at the graph. So let's see what this thing sounds like. Hope it's good. That never gets old, an NAV8 never gets old. So let's go and slap some turbos on it so we can see how it's gonna perform with 3 turbochargers strapped to it. And let's see if it's gonna be more fuel efficient, because this might not be a viewer suggested engine, but I still think this one is awesome. Because we're taking that same 2.5 liter engine and basically running boost through it, in a sense. We're making more power, we are... in some cases, it's looking like we're going to be more fuel efficient. So, yeah, maybe there's something to turbochargers. Maybe something needs to be said about turbocharging everything, or supercharging everything. So do let me know down below. Do you think we should do a turbocharger versus supercharger in the fuel efficiency debate? Because I do think that would be an interesting video. I don't know. You guys let me know down below. Because love reading you guys' comments. I know it's the second time I've mentioned this, but if you have a viewer suggested engine that you'd love to see, let me know down below. And yeah, I'll love to read it and I'll see what I can do. Perfect, so thank you for listening again to my information. Anyway, 433 horsepower. It's gonna go down somewhat because we are chasing a fuel efficiency number. We're not chasing horsepower per se. I do think there is some gains to be made. As we go through this engine, we'll start to see already at 42.2% fuel efficiency, because it's already doing a lot better. And I'm absolutely loving this thing. So we're going to do a little smaller back housing. It does seem to work. So we'll have to see. Okay, so it did work. So good. Now it's starting to look a lot better. So let's see where it goes. I do think it's going to go up. There we go. 42%. 0.4%, that's good. Making over 300 horsepower still, which is very surprising actually. So let's see. I want to actually check if we can get to 45%. I do think there is some hope for that. Let's see. So we're going to switch to a lower amount of timing. Okay, no, it does not like that. Lower fuel maybe. I do think that's going to help majorly. Less fuel, more fuel efficient. So there is a cap to it. Can I add more boost? Yes, I can. Only to a point though. That's surprising. So it went down. Okay, interesting. So increasing our exhaust size does help quite a lot, meaning our turbocharger's exhaust side. Does help quite a lot, so let's lower that again. Okay, more boost. Does it help? Not directly. Well, that helps. Bigger intercooler does help quite a lot. I think it's just the ease of flow through the intercooler means more flow on the engine side. Okay, this is helping so far. I'm actually very surprised that this thing is actually taking to this so damn well. So let's lower our spring and lift attention. I think that's gonna help as well. It is going up. Good. We're still at 430 horsepower, which that's a lot for a 2.5 liter engine. Considering it needs to be a fuel efficient engine. Wow. Cool. Let's see if we can add a little more fuel efficiency to it. Don't know where we're gonna get the rest. Maybe more boost. Okay, it does not help. Okay, So 436 horsepower is not bad so far, but I do think we can get a little more out of it. I do think so. But I'm gonna leave that for future reference, so let's see what this thing sounds like. Holy cow, this engine sounds absolutely awesome, and yes, there is more on the table, but we're gonna leave that for future reference. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and hit that subscribe button if you like this type of content. If you stayed to this part, thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.